everybody, I just wanted to do a quick video today to talk about my application experience and what led me to be accepted for the Fall Advantage 2020 Disney College Program. So I applied for the Spring 2020 College Program originally, not the Advantage but the regular, and I applied last fall, right? Yes, last fall. So going into that, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I kind of just applied for that the best that I could. I'd never written a resume. I didn't know proper resume format. I didn't really know what I was looking for doing through the application experience. So I just kind of went into that and, gave it my best shot. So I applied the first day that opened, and I didn't get my WBI or web-based interview until I want to say probably a month and a half to 2 months after I applied. So that was really anxiety producing. And after that, I got my WBI. I scheduled my phone interview, and I had that about, I want to say probably like a week or two later. I think more like a week. And then after that, I waited about another month and a half to see if I would be accepted. And on the very last day to hear back from Disney, I got a NLIC, or no longer in consideration. So it was hard to go through that whole process and only find out the very last day I wasn't accepted. So going into it, this time when reapplying for the fall, I went and actually applied for Advantage instead of regular fall. And I knew not only did I want to apply again, but I didn't want to kind of go through what I went through last semester and wait several months. I wanted to go into this, and I knew I wanted to be one of the first ones accepted if I'm accepted. So to prepare for that, I actually started writing my resume almost a month in advance. Like, I want to say probably like around 3 weeks in advance. I started like writing down different, going through my old resumes, or old resume. I only had one resume before. That was for my previous application for that. And I just kind of went through, pulled out the same things I liked from my old resume, found what I didn't like, and I went and I kind of put through a rough format my resume. I just added more things and refined things. And once I thought I had it perfect, I actually went onto the Disney College Program page, and there I went to the bottom of the page and they actually had articles. I remember I read something in the break between application processes about National Update Your Resume Month, and I went and I remember reading that. So I went through and I read every article on the Disney website regarding to the Disney College Program, the Disney Professional Program, and just Disney careers in general. So in there I found a bunch of pages I had research regarding the phone interviews and the resumes. And I found actually a lot of information that I didn't know I needed in my resume. I finished it the day before apps opened, so I was working like a month in advance, making sure everything was perfect. It took me a full month to really make sure I got everything perfected to not only Disney standards, but my standards as well. So that was something that was really, really important to me, to make sure I had all of that to the absolute best of my ability. So once I had that and I thought I was perfected, apps were opening the next day, and I wanted to be one of the first ones on there to get my resume and all my information in right away. So I actually, from the Facebook page, I don't want to say like triangulated at a time, because I don't know if that's being technical, but I noticed like a lot of the things regarding the Disney College Program and when the apps are opening were usually posted around 11:30 Central Time. So I made sure I was on a half hour before. So apps opened about, I want to say they peaked a little bit early. So when they would have opened about like 11:30, I noticed they opened about 11:20, 11:25. So I got right on. As soon as it opened, I was sitting there like refresh, and it finally opened. I got everything in. A lot of my stuff was saved from my last application, so I actually pretty much wiped it and I re-entered everything to make sure like my new resume information was up to date, like my name, of course, and address and everything. Still where I live, still up to date. But just really making sure everything was to my standards of perfection. Went through, submitted everything, and I was ready to play the waiting game. About 2 hours after I submitted my resume and all my information for the application, I actually got an invitation to schedule my phone interview straight away. So I skipped the WBI web-based interview, and I just went straight into scheduling my phone interview. So that was January 27th, I believe. And then I scheduled it So there were 2 days in between, and then my phone interview. So from January, that wasn't January 27th, January 13th. So from filling out my application, January 13th, I had the 2 days in between, and then my phone interview was January 16th. So going into that, which was kind of soon, I wanted to definitely take a different approach compared to my first time doing the phone interview. My first time, I was very anxious and panicking. I went and I made hundreds of flashcards, and I Googled every potential question I could ever be asked regarding the program. And I would sit there, and I sat there for hours just going through the flashcards myself. I had my mom ask me questions. I think that was the thing that killed me in the interview. That was, for the way my mind works and my mindset through all of this, that really killed my chances. Because going in to the phone interview, that first round, for my first application for the spring 2020 program, I kind of went into panic mode, not gonna lie. And I went into like my mindset of trivia mode. Like, they ask a question, I give the right answer that I wrote in my flashcard, like word for word, like panic. They asked me about my resume, and I like reread my resume. Essentially, like, I went into panic mode. So this time going into it, I really wanted to remember what's important to me, why I want to do the program, what this program means to me. And I'll actually insert a picture of my desk last semester, because my entire desk and wall was covered in flashcards. It was yikes. Yeah, so this semester I wanted to go in and really remember why I want to do the program, why it's important to me. So, last semester I sat in a chair, I panicked, and I really want to make sure, to get my anxiety out, to make sure I don't panic. I wanted to be able to like walk around my room. Instead of putting stuff on my wall by my desk and on my desk, I just made little posters reminding me of why this program means so much. My family, just reminding me to breathe. My grandpa actually worked for the Walt Disney Company, or affiliate of Walt Disney Company, for ABC, and just hearing the stories of the experiences the company gave him is such a big thing to me. It means so much. So I just put like reminders of that. I remember I talked to him before my program, and I said, just if they ask like, what's something you remember, because I know he was at one of the Disney park openings, which I talked to my family. He was there for the opening of Epcot. I talked to him because at the time, like, everyone was like, did he open for Epcot? Was it Hollywood Studios? Because they opened, I think, within 5 to 7 years of each other. Everyone's pretty certain it was Epcot except my grandpa. But I asked him about his experience with that. And of course, he said he didn't. It was a while ago. He didn't remember much, but he did remember the huge buffet, and they had giant tables just filled with jumbo shrimp, like piled high. That was like the one thing he remembered. It's like I had that written down to make me laugh and remember, like, stay positive, joke around a bit. Just essentially what this program means to me and why I want to do the program. I just had pinned or taped to my bedroom door, the back of my door, just to remind me, stay positive, breathe, relax, have fun with it. Why is it important to me? Be myself. That kind of stuff. So I didn't go into panic mode in trivia. I just, stayed me. And if they asked me about my resume, not gonna lie, last time I had my resume there and I panicked and read from it. My resume this time I did essentially have pretty much memorized. I didn't tape my resume to the wall, which I know a lot of people recommend. I didn't find that helpful at all last time. It totally killed my chances having all of that information there for me because I panicked and read. So this time I made sure if I panic, I have to breathe. I have to be myself. I have to answer honest to me. Just like when they asked me about my resume, I knew what I wrote in my resume. I worked on it for months. I had it memorized essentially. But I made sure to kind of not just go over my resume, but when they asked about that, to go from what I wrote and build on it. I already felt really confident at that point about my interview because it was pretty much over. I felt like I nailed everything to the best of my ability. I really answered everything well. I felt like I really let my interviewer have the chance to get to know me and get to know my experience, my thoughts, just overall what I could bring magic-wise to the company. So I finished the phone interview, got off the phone. My mom worked from home that day and my dad was just downstairs. So I phone like ran downstairs and I talked to them. I was like, oh my gosh, I got it. And they're like, did they tell you that? How do you know you got it? And I just kind of looked at them and I went, you don't understand. I got it. Like, I got it. And they're like, did they say anything? Like, how do you know? Like, you can't possibly know yet. And I was like, no, trust me. I answered everything to the best of my ability. I know for a fact I nailed the phone interview. Like, I got it. Like, I got it. So like, okay, if you say so. So from that point on, I was just kind of waiting to see when I would get my acceptance letter. I was told, because I interviewed on, I believe it was Friday 15th. No, it was a Thursday. So I interviewed on a Thursday. And I was told I'd probably hear back soonest by Saturday. So after the weekend, and it's nothing. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they just don't get back to people on the weekend. Like, you never know. Like, it's a weekend. They could be off. So going into the next week, I was like really adamant about checking my board. I can't remember what it's called now. Shoot. But yeah, I was really adamant about like checking to see if there were any updates about my program, checking my email, just, seeing where I'm at in the process. And I really solidified my idea of knowing that I was accepted when they have the little line with the check marks on it. And mine was saying like phone interview. And once I finished my phone interview and it updated to the next, or I was waiting from there, it went from phone interview to in consideration. And at that point, it went to, I can't remember what it was. I was not going to say now, just kidding. But for one day, it changed to something that was not in consideration. And that like really like, oh my gosh, it doesn't say like phone interview complete, you'll be hearing back from us soon. It doesn't say in consideration. It said something else for one day. Yeah, it was something about like the status. It wasn't NLIC, it wasn't in consideration. And it wasn't, after the phone interview, like waiting to hear back. It changed to something else for one day that I've never seen anybody on YouTube or anyone talk about. And it was like something like confirmed, or I don't know. I don't remember the exact terminology. I wish I screenshotted it. I don't think I did. If I did, I'll insert it, but I don't think I did. But that just kind of really solidified like, oh my gosh, this means they've made a decision about me, and then they're just putting the screen back to the in consideration screen, so it's in time with everything else, and you don't know how it stands. Like, I logged on at the perfect timing, where just for a couple hours they had it on there, so I knew, oh my gosh, it's accepted. So that sent me in my, oh my gosh, I'm accepted frenzy again. And about 2 weeks after the opening date, so on January, I believe it was 27th. So January 27th, 2 weeks after I first applied, I got in the first round of acceptance letters, congratulations, you've been accepted Fall 2020 Advantage, or Fall Advantage 2020. And I wanted to film a cute video of me reading my letter and finding out I was accepted. Only I woke up in the morning, I looked at my phone, and my Gmail said, congratulations, you're accepted from Disney, do not reply. I went, well, I'm accepted. I know now. So going through that day, like, oh my gosh, I'm accepted. I printed out a screenshot of that banner, just my black and white printer at home. I was going to surprise my family, but I didn't know how to do it with the banner. So I didn't know my dad was home. My mom was downtown at work, and I just didn't tell my dad. I kept the secret, didn't tell my mom. And on my way to school later that day, I was driving, I gave my mom a call on speaker, and I was like, hey, I'm on my way to class, whatever, I need a paper for tomorrow. If I send you a copy, could you please print it out? I need it in color. I knew that was something that was really going to annoy her, but she'd do it anyway, like, I don't want to, but you know what, you need it, fine, I'll do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm in the car. When I get to class, I'll send you the email, if you could please, I need it for first thing in the morning, please print it out. And then I got to class, and I, got to school. I was sitting in the car in the parking lot, parked my car, and I just kind of pulled up a screen, like a color screenshot of that "you've been accepted" thing, and I sent it to her, and I captioned it like "surprise." And she got home and she told me she read that at her desk, and funny thing was, her coworker asked her how my application process was going just before she opened that email. So she looked at the email, and she said she full on started like crying at her desk, like she was so excited for me. So when I got home from class at the same time as my mom, I had like a almost 4-hour class, because where I go to school, the art classes are almost 4-hour blocks, just so you have some studio time to work. So, I just kind of, I knew how to get his attention. Money gets his attention. I'm like, oh, I spent money. So I just kind of walked up to him. I'm like, oh, hey, my mom was recording. I'm not going to put any family recordings in here just because I don't know if they want their video on here. But, yeah, so I walked up to him, and I was like, hey, could I borrow like $400? And he said, why? I mean, well, I need the money to accept my program for the Disney College program. And he kind of freaked out and doing those "woohoo, she's gone" things. So supportive. But yes, when I got a laugh out of that. Just kind of joking around about that though with him. Just kind of getting over that. And then I came to surprise my grandparents. So my grandma and grandpa, they just got new puppies, and I was thinking for my grandpa, I'd take one of those letters and like tape it just like the tag on the collar of the puppy. I was like, you know what? They're gonna eat it. Like, their names are Daisy and Dory, just very Disney names. And I call Dory Sharkbait, Sharkbait, hoo-ha-ha, Finding Nemo. But she's like a shark or piranha. Like, she'll just eat everything that comes near her mouth. It's like, what? That's not gonna work. And the other one, Daisy, I don't think she'd tolerate it. So my grandma had her birthday a couple days. My mother had her birthday on my phone interview day. My grandma had her birthday a couple days before I was accepted, and I wanted to accept her, or to surprise her on her birthday. But because I didn't hear back until the 27th, I couldn't surprise her on her birthday. I had a lotion I picked up for her birthday, and I just kind of took out the little picture of that banner, the "You've Been Accepted" banner, and I taped that around the bottle, and I put it in like a little bag. I put some tissue paper in, like really cute, like, oh, I forgot to give this to you on your birthday, like whatever, like, here you go, happy birthday. So she opened it and she saw the "congratulations, you've been accepted." She full on like grabbed her mouth in her chest, and she full on started crying, like hard, like crying. Of course, my grandpa sitting at the counter, he looks at her and goes, what's going on? Like, why are you crying? So I explained to him I was accepted. And he was like, okay, cool. He was happy for me. But my grandma was crying, and she realized it means me moving to Florida, moving away. And my grandma and I, we love doing stuff together. We'll go, because I can't really eat at like restaurants and stuff anymore, because of my medical diet. So we'll go walk the mall together. We'll still have sleepovers together. We'll go see movies, and we do a lot together. But she still full on cried. She was so happy. So yeah, I have the video of that. Again, I'm not going to put that in just because, I don't know if they want their personal videos out there. So yeah, that was a really sweet video. She got me crying. My mom almost started crying. Borderline started crying. Spent the afternoon with them, and then we came home. I guess evening with them, and then we came home. And when I got home, I wanted to surprise my aunt, uncle, and little cousin. So I gave my cousin a call on FaceTime. And I was like, hey, what are your favorite Disney characters? I know, it's Stitch. Same as me. She loves Stitch. So she's like, Stitch, you know that. I'm like, okay, just checking. And she's just kind of like, okay. I'm like, we're both just kind of sitting there. I'm like, you want to know why? She goes, sure. I'm like, well, I'm moving to Disney. And she just kind of went, and you can just kind of see, like, oh my gosh, you were accepted going across her face. I said I was excited for the Disney College program, and she just sat there like laughing, like she was so happy too. So just knowing that everyone was just so happy about it, like it really means the world to me. Yeah, so I know I talked to her on the phone for a bit, and then I hung up with her, and I was gonna call her parents, my aunt and uncle. And, you know, I hung up. I'm like, oh shoot, she's gonna tell them right away. So I dial my aunt real quick. I'm like, hey, what's your favorite character? And all of a sudden she goes, I get a text on my watch saying congratulations from my uncle. I'm like, she told them already. So, you know, I grabbed their favorite characters because, you know, my cousin and uncle are very avid pin collectors, especially my uncle. And I love pin collecting too. So, you know, if I see anything cool out there, I like to pick up for them while I'm out and about. But yeah, so overall it's just like a really good positive experience. My family is also excited. I'm beyond excited. So just kind of getting prepped for that now. Overall, that was my experience. First time applying for the program for spring 2020 was definitely beyond rough. And applying for my fall 2020 advantage, I'm really happy with how that went because I couldn't have wished for it to be better. So yeah, I'll post more videos soon. And until then, I guess this is goodbye until the next video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.